So, continuing on with honoring my walks because of there being a time when I couldn't. You'll see why I had to do this. Breaking through the barriers. So, when we want something, our body shows us and our environment shows us. And so, what did that look like for me? Oh my gosh, I was not joking, about 85 pounds overweight. I had very pale skin. I was even having issues with my skin, with just a lot of different ailments. My body was achy. I hurt in places, and my mind hurt. And everything within me was stirring up emotions that was wanting something different. Now, at that time, here's the thing, is that life really was not that bad. You know, that we could settle into something that was very comfortable. And in there was the issue, is that I became complacent. I became comfortable. In some of my videos, I've talked about how pain is one of our greatest motivators. And that is indeed truth. So little by little by little, I began to experience this dimming of myself inside. And the craziest thing is that I had just come off of one of the most incredible experiences. I have a cousin who is blessed to be able to live on the islands of Hawaii. And I was with my aunt who was visiting, my tia Margarita. And she was here in New Mexico, and I was in this place of deep spiritual height. I had opened up a center where I was going to provide such incredible service. And, you know, I was working towards all of this. I had finally had the courage to leave my other job. And things seemed to be going so well. And I was having these incredible spiritual experiences. And the height of it was going to Hawaii with my tia Margarita. And I spent about 2 weeks there in the year 2015. And in that moment, I had so many incredible, mystical, just incredible experiences that are, again, breaking through barriers. I had such incredible experiences that had awakened me to such incredible heights that I had an expectation of, wow, I took that leap of faith and now I'm ready to soar. And with those experiences in the island of Hawaii, I had this prayer of, okay, God, I am ready. I am here. All the pieces are in place. Use me. God, I offer my life to you in fullness, and I also ask that you remove any barriers that are in the way of my providing this service to you. Pardon me. That one hit me deep. Because when I said it, I meant it. Oh, it was the day before we were about to leave, and I was by these incredible waterfalls at this place called Opa'eka'a. These waterfalls from the mountain in the island poured down through this waterfall and into this valley, and then into the ocean, and it's carried all across the earth. I had kind of a backstory, but I had this beautiful symbol that I had made, and it was engraved into an elk piece. It's called a rune. And in that was my symbol. It was a symbol that represented me of all the shamanic studies I had gone through and all of these things. And I had blown that intention into that elk piece. And I cast it out. And I felt this wave move within me. And there's a picture where right after that, I had taken a panoramic photo of this mountain and this waterfall. And oh my God, what appeared was an image of a skull in the mountain. It was as though the spirit of the mountain in that incredible place had revealed itself to me. And there it is on camera. I'm not making this up. I'll show the image. But in that moment, I asked, remove all barriers from me. So when I returned, it was as though that piece of me had remained, and it had created this bridge, what I call the Rainbow Bridge, to me from Hawaii to there aquí in Santa Fe, the city of Holy Faith, Santa Fe, New Mexico, is where I was living at the time, which is about an hour and a half where I am right now. But in that moment, something shifted within me. That is when I fell into this deep depression, just barely 6 years ago. After reaching all of this height, taking all of these leaps of faith, following the instinct of my soul, my spirit, going in and entering into a 5-year lease, beginning to make these shifts and changes, and then everything changed. I share in previous videos that my father was extremely ill. He had an esophagectomy, and statistics show that out of 100 people, 5 people survive up to 5 years, and my father was one of those. He actually made it to 6.5. Mi papa. Wow. So from the return of that trip, with having that deep faith, all hell broke loose. And I already share a video about it. It's how I experienced my 2020 and 2017. I talk about 7 losses in 1 year. Go watch that video. I won't share it again because it's already been shared. I lost everything. And from there, I fell into that greatest, deepest depression from which I had to pull myself out of. Now here I am, now on the other side of that finally. But it took everything I had within me. In those moments, I was wanting to place blame and responsibility on others. I wanted them to take it away. I wanted them to make me feel better. And I could not understand that, God, how, when I did this? So then I go back to my original prayer. God, I give my life to you in service. Remove all barriers and blockages from me so that I may live in that way, so that I may serve. And that's exactly what happened. So, yeah. In my perspective at that time, it was everything is taken away. And how could this happen? That here I am locked into this lease, and I was dishonoring in my heart what felt like a marriage that was only one-sided. I wasn't showing up in the marriage. And so from that, this act of love for myself first and for him second was to say, I cannot be what you need and want. I must release. So from there, coming into this place of what to me, perspective, brokenness, right? It brought me to a place of finding myself and creating the lifestyle that it was meant. That is why these walks are so important to me. Because there was a time when I was dishonoring myself and I was not engaged in life in a way that supported my intention. As I come across this little guy. Again, everything is a message. I hope I get the perspective correct. Praying mantis. Everything is a message on our path. Truly everything. Praying mantis. The little critter on my path, and it's showing me to just give thanks. Give thanks for, God, all of that struggle, all of that perception of destruction. Because here's the thing. When we are living lifestyles that are not in support of what we actually want, even though there's aspects of it, there is something greater and bigger for ourselves. And when that happens, life is just trying to reveal itself to us. That's all. As life reveals itself to us within us, if we resist making those changes, it begins to feel so painful, because what our soul is wanting, what our life is calling for, is not what is actually showing up in our reality. And so there are things that we must do in order to remove those blockages from ourselves. We might think that it's supposed to look one particular way, but little do we know that there possibly could be something so much greater and bigger in store for us if we just have a willingness to get out of our own way and stop the resistance. When I finally stopped resisting, and my biggest barrier for that resistance was not wanting to hurt people. And there was a greater thing that I was shown within that, is that reminder of soul agreements. So in that moment, when in my smallness and in my humanness thinking, oh, this is destruction, not only for myself, but for others, and the pain that it is going to create. But then I was shown that every single one of us had chosen an aspect of that. We chose our parents. We chose the experience. We chose our children chose us, and we chose all of the things that are to come if we have the courage to live that way. So as humans, we want safety and security and things to remain the same, and that's what we consider to be success. But to the spirit, that is like a death, because then we don't allow life to flow. It is like trying to capture wind in a bottle and trying to live and sustain off of that as air. We must allow it to flow, because sometimes it's a gentle breeze, and sometimes it's a gusty wind, and sometimes hurricanes, tornadoes. So what we perceive to be destruction may not necessarily be the destruction we consider it to be. It just might be the building blocks upon which we build a foundation for our next. Because we have phases in life. I am not a toddler anymore. I have expressed and grown and gained wisdom and knowledge and experiences, and I want something different. So as humans, that's what we're intended to do. May we have the courage to make those life changes no matter how hard they are. They're hard. They are. I know, because I've done it. There's nothing worse than getting advice from somebody who's never been in your shoes. And so I show up fully within myself, not only from compassion for you and empathy, but also from my own personal experience. And I can show up fully, 100% neutral in all experiences, just to be that vessel, to convey whatever needs to come through, knowing that I myself hold you in this deep place because I've been there. And pardon my language, fuck, it's hard. And we don't have to go through it alone. And man, oh man, there's a way. So I cherish these walks. Thank you so much for being with me. Thank you so much for enjoying the morning on this walk. Now it's time to finish watering the garden. Blessings. Have a beautiful day.